Have you ever considered that your home is a genuine time machine, a portal to the past, where an incredible story lurks behind every corner? Have you ever wondered what design nightmares, forgotten trends, and shocking decisions are hidden within the dusty archives of interior design history? And what if I told you that some of these nightmares are not just amusing artifacts, but keys to understanding how our perception of beauty, comfort, and even space itself has changed? Welcome to the Museum of Strange Design, a place where the past, present, and future of design merge in a whirlwind of absurdity, creativity, and, frankly, sometimes, utter absurdity. We're embarking on an exciting journey through the most bizarre, forgotten, and shocking trends that once reigned at the peak of fashion, but today evoke surprise, laughter, and perhaps even a slight sense of awkwardness. Are you ready to look in the mirror of history and see how our idea of home has changed? So let's start with an era that, more than any other, embodied the mad belief in a bright future, with the crazy 1960s. Imagine a world flooded with bright acid colors, populated by bizarre space-age furniture made of plastic and obsessed with futurism. It was a time when designers dreamed of homes that resembled spaceships more than cozy nests. They believed that in 10 years, in 1970, humankind would conquer space, and home interiors were meant to reflect this faith in a bright, distant future. One of the brightest stars of that era was the so-called plastic paradise. Bright, flashy, provocative, plastic reigned as the new favorite, a symbol of an age where everything seemed possible. Chair drops, amoeba tables, rocket lamps. The furniture's shapes were radically new, as if they had come straight from the pages of science fiction novels. Colors, ranging from poisonous green to fuchsia and orange, literally exploded against the minimalist interiors, as though they had come from the canvases of futurist artists. Remember the iconic Panton Chairs, whose monolithic curves seemed to have arrived from another planet? Or, for example, inflatable furniture that looked as if it had just been pulled out of a swimming pool, sofas, armchairs, and tables made of transparent or bright plastic, inflating and deflating like huge children's toys. This furniture represented something more than just household items. It was a bold declaration, a declaration of freedom from tradition, from tedious limitations, from everything familiar. But why plastic? Why these outrageous colors and shapes? The answer is simple. It was a response to the challenges of the time. The post-war generation yearned for change, something new, bright, and above all, affordable for everyone. Plastic became the perfect material, inexpensive, easily moldable, and capable of taking on any form. It embodied hopes for a bright future where technology conquered the mundane and the home became the embodiment of a dream. But behind this bright facade, there was also a downside. Plastic proved to be short-lived, often fragile, and, as we know today, environmentally unfriendly. Many of these innovative designs turned out to be impractical, and their garish colors quickly grew tiresome. But even now, after decades, we cannot help but admire the boldness and originality of those who created these futuristic worlds that captured the imagination in the 1960s. Let's move on to the next decade, which is perhaps more than others associated with nostalgia, the 1970s. If the 1960s were about space, then the 1970s were about comfort, self-expression, and inflatable furniture. Yes, that's right. If you thought inflatable sofas were just for summer relaxation, you are mistaken. In the 1970s, they became a true symbol of the era, the main trend that defined a lifestyle. Inflatable furniture was the answer to a rapidly changing world, where mobility and lightness gained key importance. Why not get a sofa that could be deflated and moved to another house in just a few minutes? Or an armchair that's easily inflated just before guests arrive? Remember the huge, soft beanbag chairs filled with polystyrene balls? These chairs, like an embodiment of comfort, became a symbol of relaxation and freedom, the perfect addition to interiors where bright colors, psychedelic patterns, and low seating prevailed. But inflatable furniture wasn't just about comfort. It was also a challenge to societal standards, a rebellion against stuffiness and conventions. It was like a declaration: I don't care about appearances, what matters is how I feel. And of course, practicality couldn't be ignored. Inflatable furniture was affordable and readily available. However, inflatable solutions, like plastic, had their drawbacks. Inflating and deflating was easy enough, but finding a place where this furniture wouldn't constantly get punctured proved to be a more difficult task. Imagine a living room where everything, from the sofa to the floor lamp, was inflatable. How did it look? Perhaps absurd, even comical. But without any doubt, it was the true embodiment of the spirit of that era. And now, let's go back to those years and remember the color schemes that were considered the height of elegance. Brick, mustard, olive. These colors were like the calling card of the 1970s. They greeted us everywhere, on walls, in the soft upholstery of furniture, in the shaggy carpets. And it wasn't just a combination of colors, but an entire palette that created a unique atmosphere. An atmosphere of warmth, comfort, and let's be honest, a hint of strangeness. But what lay behind such a choice? Why those particular colors? The answer lies in the cultural context of that era. In the 1970s, there was a real surge of interest in nature, in eco-friendliness, in returning to origins. These colors reflected the desire for harmony with the environment, for simplicity and naturalness, for unity with nature. Let's move on to the next element, which causes bewilderment if you look at it from a modern perspective: the strange gadgets for the home. In the 70s, technology advanced rapidly, hurtling towards an unknown future, and designers, holding their breath, rushed to incorporate it into everyday life. Remember telephones with huge toy-like buttons, rotary dial phones demanding patience and dexterity, music centers reverently playing music from vinyl records, and other gadgets that today seem cumbersome, outdated, but somehow familiar. Behind this seeming bulkiness lay something more: curiosity and a fervent belief in tomorrow. Today, these gadgets are not just a tribute to fashion, but also a clear testament to how rapidly the world changes, how fleeting time is. Let's travel to the world of furniture, designed not so much for comfort as for shock value, to evoke surprise and admiration. Recall shell-shaped beds, enveloping with their bizarre curves, mushroom-shaped tables, as if from the pages of fairy tales, sofas in the shape of lips, enticing with their unusual form. These forms caused genuine delight, although of course they weren't always practical. Consider sofas in the shape of snakes, writhing in bizarre poses, tables that transformed into quirky lamps with a single movement, and other objects that looked as if they had arrived from other worlds. These items were the embodiment of a daring desire to break free from the ordinary, to challenge tedious traditions, and to bring a unique touch of magic into the home. They were intended to become centers of attraction, sincere reasons for fascinating conversations, a vivid way to express one's unique individuality. And, it must be admitted, they succeeded brilliantly. But why these particular forms, these peculiar outlines? The answer lay in an unquenchable thirst for individuality, in a desire to break free from the grey mass, to make a statement. It was a cry from the soul, a way of saying, I am not like everyone else. My home is a reflection of my uniqueness, a mold of my soul. But what do we see when we gaze upon these creations today? We see more than just outdated forms and materials, long since out of fashion. We see much more. Before us lies a reflection of an entire era, its hopes, its fears, and of course, its dreams. We see how our ideas about beauty, comfort, and functionality have changed. We see how fickle fashion is, how the past always returns, albeit in a somewhat transformed form, adapting to new realities. The most striking aspect is the understanding that design isn't merely about creating objects. It's not simply a craft. Above all, it's a way of communicating with the world, a method of expressing one's thoughts and feelings, and sharing them. So, the next time you encounter a strange piece of furniture, an outlandish, vivid color, or an unusual shape, don't rush to judgment. Try to understand what the artist intended, what they wanted to convey. Perhaps they only wanted you to smile, to ponder, or simply to experience something new. Instead, ask yourself, why? Why did this object come into being? What idea does it embody? What does it reveal about its era? The Museum of Strange Design opens doors to new worlds, prompting us to reconsider the familiar and showing what human imagination can achieve, inviting you on a fascinating journey. But what can we take away from this exciting excursion through the history of interiors? First and foremost, remember this: fashions and tastes are ever-changing. What seems absurd today could become the symbol of an era tomorrow, a subject of admiration and even worship. Don't be afraid to experiment. Don't be afraid to stand out from the crowd, to be different. Secondly, consider the context. Design is a mirror of its time, reflecting its culture, achievements, and technologies. Understanding this allows you to delve deeper into the essence of the world around you. Thirdly, never forget the people involved. Behind every design element are people, talented designers, inspired architects, skilled craftspeople. Their creative drive, their passion, their setbacks, all of this shapes the rich and captivating history of design. So, my friends, let's summarize our journey. We've journeyed into the past to better understand the present and find inspiration for the future. We've seen how our ideas of home, beauty, and functionality have evolved. We've realized that design isn't just about creating objects. It's a unique way of interacting with the world, a way to express your thoughts and feelings, to tell your story. Now it's time to consider your own space. Look at your home differently, with fresh eyes. Examine your surroundings as if you are entering this space for the very first time. What surrounds you? Which objects capture your attention, spark your interest, and inspire admiration? And which ones, on the contrary, surprise or even confuse you? Ponder this. Share your thoughts in the comments. Which detail from the presented designs made the biggest impression on you? Perhaps it was the inflatable sofa, an embodiment of bold ideas, a futuristic chair that seemed to have arrived from the future, or a quirky gadget from the 1970s, reminding us of a time of experimentation and daring solutions. Or perhaps you have your own examples of strange, absurd, or conversely almost forgotten, but nonetheless interesting design solutions that you'd like to share. Don't hesitate, share your discoveries in the comments. And don't forget to share this video with your friends, colleagues, and acquaintances for whom design, architecture, and unusual things are as interesting as they are for you. After all, the world of design is full of exciting discoveries. Subscribe to the channel to continue exploring its limitless horizons together. Take fascinating journeys through the most unusual houses and mansions, as if unraveling their secrets, and discover new, sometimes unexpected facets of this amazing world. Because who knows what other treasures are hidden in the dusty archives of interior design history, awaiting their time to appear before us in all their glory.